Why would anyone travel to the United States for the FIFA World Cup? I'm seriously asking that question. Why would any international person travel right now to the United States for the FIFA World Cup when you are watching people getting detained and shot in the face for no reason? If you were a person of any color other than pure baby powder white, you are absolutely not safe. And we've even seen if you are baby powder white, you are still not safe. Why would you take a chance coming to a country where you could be detained, locked in prison, deported to God knows where because you came to watch a soccer game? Football, sorry. Because you came to watch a football game. Why would you come to the United States to do that? I really don't understand why. The made-up FIFA World Peace Prize that Donald Trump gave, and he immediately bombed another country and stole their leader. Like, this is not a safe place. The citizens of the United States don't want to be here. Please do not come to the United States of America for the FIFA World Cup if you are not from this country. Anyone who does not have to be here should not be here. Trust me.
Okay, so the 2026 FIFA World Cup is in serious trouble. 20,000 people just canceled their tickets. Countries are warning their citizens not to travel here. Diplomats are getting threatened for speaking up. Why? Nobody feels safe coming to America right now. ICE raids at airports, people getting shot, mass deportations. The whole world is watching this chaos unfold in real time, and they're making a very rational decision. Stay home. This was supposed to be billions in revenue, international prestige, unity through sport. Instead, the most expensive empty stadium disaster in World Cup history. Welcome back to Mind Mirror. Let's break down why the world is boycotting America.
Yo, the World Cup 2026 is going to take place here in America. And you know what? I think it's going to flop. I think it's going to flop. The entire world sees what America's doing. You think there's going to be thousands of people from all over the world coming to America just to see the World Cup? Nah. No, bro. Not going to happen. I don't think it's going to. I highly doubt it. The World Cup is not going to be, packed with seats, shoulder to shoulder traffic, because people around the world are seeing how dangerous America has become. People getting arrested at airports, shot in the streets.
You know what? This hits different when you really think about it. The World Cup only works because it's global. That's the entire point. Bringing together people from every corner of the planet. But here's the problem. You can't do that when half those people are genuinely terrified to step foot in your country. Like, actually scared. Not performative, not political, just basic survival instinct kicking in. And the comparison to other countries? Brazil being safer? Russia? That should be a massive wake-up call. When people are looking at places America used to criticize for safety and choosing them instead, that tells you everything about where we're at right now. This isn't propaganda. These are real people making real risk assessments based on what they're seeing with their own eyes.
It's getting easier to die in America than anywhere else. You used to, here in America, we used to be afraid of other countries, traveling to other countries, like in Latin America or in Asia, because we thought that we were going to get robbed or killed. Well, now the tables have turned. Those other countries are now safer, and America's the dangerous place. You come to America, you're more likely to die in a public place like a church, store, Walmart. In the World Cup sounds like the perfect place for a crazy person with a gun to go around in a killing spree. And yeah. Just for a little bit of an example. In 2025, there were 250 school shootings and public shootings, which, by the way, the news only reported about maybe a couple of those. Yeah, the World Cup's gonna be filled in 2026. My ass.
Well, the World Cup is in trouble. Nobody wants to come here. Ticket sales are down. They've actually had to lower the price of the tickets because they can't give them away at this point. They thought they were going to get thousands and thousands of dollars for tickets, and they may not even be able to get $100.
This is where the economic reality hits hard. $700 tickets. getting slashed to under 100 because nobody wants them. That's not a minor problem. That's a catastrophe. FIFA was counting on billions. Hotels, restaurants, airlines, merchandise, the entire economic ecosystem that surrounds a World Cup. All of it depended on international visitors showing up. And now, ghost towns. Your friends in Europe aren't coming. Families in the UK are passing. Anyone watching the news is going, yeah, no thanks. When your international reputation tanks, you don't just lose ticket sales. You lose everything downstream. The economic cascade is brutal. This was preventable. Completely, totally preventable.
We personally, my family, we have heard from our friends that are either in Europe or the UK, and there's no way that they would come to the United States right now. They can see just how dangerous it is, and they're not willing to bring their children to this country. And I don't blame them. They can see for themselves what's going on. They've actually watched the videos. They can see the protests. They can see what ICE agents are doing to people. And they're not in the cult. So they don't believe this spin that comes out of the White House and Kristi Noem. I mean, it's very clear to them that they are blatantly lying about what's in these videos and what ICE is actually doing, and that they are just grabbing people off the street and asking questions later. So I knew the World Cup wasn't going to be a good idea to have in the United States, and there you have it.
Just like a serious question, but how is America still allowed to host the World Cup? Like how? How many countries have they bombed in the last year? How many genocides have they actively been complicit in? They've got a fascist dictator in power, and now you've got ICE agents shooting their own citizens. I know I've mentioned this already in my last video, but I seriously think the public is not reacting enough to this. People are not angry enough. I seriously do not know how America is still allowed to host the World Cup. They should be banned. It should just be Mexico and Canada. And if anyone is going to America for the World Cup, this is the part I repeated in my last video, and I'm going to repeat it again. Do not go. Especially those who live in Europe, and not even just Europe, anywhere that's outside of America. Do not fucking go.
Here's the question that nobody in power wants to answer. How is America still allowed to host this? Because if this exact same situation, ICE raids, diplomatic incidents, safety warnings, citizens getting shot, if this were happening in literally any other country, we'd be leading the boycott charge ourselves. The standards we apply to other nations, we're failing those standards right now, and the rest of the world sees it crystal clear. Athletes being asked to compete where their families might not be safe in the stands. Journalists potentially getting detained. Fans from certain countries unable to even get visas. That's not a sporting event. That's asking people to risk their safety for entertainment. And FIFA should have moved this the second the red flags started piling up.
And if you have tickets, and if you have booked to go, cancel it immediately. Do not give them any more money.
The United States is hosting the 2026 FIFA World Cup and the 2028 Summer Olympics, but it's ready to deport its competitors and the attendees. We need to talk about what this means. As the United States is set to co-host the World Cup in 2026, the current administration has failed to clearly rule out immigration enforcement actions like ICE raids in and around World Cup events, saying instead that nothing that could enhance the safety of Americans is off the table. The vice president even joked about deporting soccer fans.
Incredible event. I know we'll have visitors probably from close to 100 countries. We want them to come, we want them to celebrate, we want them to watch the game, but when the time is up, they'll have to go home. Otherwise, they'll have to talk to Secretary Noem, who I'll turn it over to now.
So, it is possible that a large sporting event meant to celebrate international camaraderie and athleticism is used as a venue to further traumatize our communities. And this is likely to only get worse by the time the Olympics is hosted in LA in 2028. While the World Cup and the Olympics usually celebrate international unity and diversity, bringing together athletes, families, journalists, and visitors from around the world, Trump is instead breeding fear into competitors and attendees alike. This hardline enforcement talk sends a chilling message to foreign fans and immigrant communities inside the US of the World Cup and the Olympics.
Wait, hold up. They joked about deporting soccer fans? You're inviting people to come, spend money, celebrate, and simultaneously making jokes about enforcement if they overstay by even a day. That's not hospitality, that's a threat wrapped in a smile, and refusing to rule out ICE raids during the tournament. Think about what you're actually saying to visitors. Come to America, bring your family, just don't look too suspicious while you're here. The rest of the world is watching this messaging and going, absolutely not. If you can't guarantee basic safety for invited guests, for people you're actively asking to attend, then maybe hosting international events isn't in the cards right now. Just a thought.
Alright, bro. The US cannot host the World Cup this year. They cannot host the World Cup this year because, like, on my FYP, I've been seeing a lot of ICE videos, and it is genuinely getting scary. It's genuinely getting scary because they've started to target their own citizens. Like, between President of Venezuela and this whole thing with Renee Good and people protesting against ICE, it's not safe for foreigners. It's genuinely not safe for foreigners. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, some people have started to cancel their flight plans, and for good reasons too, because, bro, someone please, like, FIFA, can you find another country to host the World Cup, bro? You need to.
I've been to every World Cup as an adult, but I'm boycotting the next one purely because that sense of morality that the Western people have, or Western media have, has suddenly gone quiet when it comes to the USA. People told me not to go to Qatar because of the human rights record. They told me not to go to Brazil because of the massive wall that they're putting up to stop tourists from seeing the favelas. They told me not to go to Russia because of Putin, but no one said anything about USA. Increasingly, it's becoming a lot like 1930s Germany, which is hard to see. I don't see how I could justify going to a country that invades another country, kidnaps their president, threatens the sovereignty of other countries like Greenland. Much like the Gestapo in 1930s has their own ICE agents kill people in their own country. It's all a bit mental, don't want to be part of it. Not just the appalling human rights record that Trump has, it's the pricing out of FIFA. How dare they charge $700 per ticket for a quarterfinal game? To give you context, I'm at the AFCON right now, quarterfinal game, and I paid 50 quid. That's about $60 for this ticket. So they're asking people to pay 12 times that amount. I get it, it's a bigger tournament, but 12 times more, they're absolutely taking the piss. Absolutely vulgar, disgusting. And they're pricing out the real fans, the people who made the sport what it is, and who made those corporations like FIFA what they are. Trump and Infantino together have just completely and utterly ruined world football. This should have been the people's sport, the world's sport, the working class game. But it's a luxury now. So what would you do as a fan? Would you boycott it as well? Or would you pay them the 700 quid?
$700 for a quarterfinal ticket. Not the final. Not even semifinals. A quarterfinal game. Meanwhile, this person paid $60 at AFCON and had an incredible experience. Because that tournament actually cared about making football accessible to fans. The people who actually love the game. But 2026? This is for corporate boxes and luxury holders, the working class fans who create the atmosphere, who followed their teams for decades. They're priced out completely, and when you combine the financial exploitation with safety concerns, visa nightmares, and hostile political climate, you get the perfect recipe for empty stadiums. The people's game got turned into a luxury product that forgot who made it beautiful in the first place. That's the real tragedy here.
Good people, it's time we ask the question, how safe will it be for the World Cup to be hosted in America? Like, honestly speaking, I mean, there's just too much going on in that hemisphere of the world. You'll never know what's going to happen. Enemies might retaliate. There might be a mass shooting, like you'd never know. Because I can swear on your life, if this was happening in any other country in the world, especially, let's just say the Middle East, Russia, China, America would be the first to call it out. America would be the first to boycott FIFA. But now that it's happening in the US, FIFA has said pretty much nothing about anything that America has done for the past year since Trump has gotten into office. I mean, that country is just in shambles. There's mass shootings being reported every week. Public speakers are being assassinated. Presidents are being kidnapped. Countries are being invaded. There's now a Department of War. Like, good people, as a leader of a nation, I would never allow my citizens to take part in this shenanigans. I would definitely not allow my people's lives to be in this clown's hands. Never.
Let's just list the facts with no spin. Mass shootings reported weekly. Presidents kidnapped from other countries, ICE shooting citizens, a Department of War, and we're asking the world to trust that this is a safe environment for families to attend a soccer tournament. If you were a national leader, would you send your citizens into this? Would you risk your people? 16,000 cancellations isn't a fluke. It's people looking at the evidence and making the only rational choice available. This could have been avoided entirely, but when you create chaos, consequences follow.
Over 16,800 people canceled their FIFA World Cup tickets over the last.
Hey guys, please go back and look at that full video. And if you don't follow him, please do, because he always has a really interesting perspective. And the quiet part that I want to say out loud, or maybe the not so quiet part, is that we are entering the second year of the Trump presidency. Foolishness and fuckery has been abound since day one. But somehow it wasn't until a white woman was murdered that the world bothered to care about the atrocities that ICE was committing against people. FIFA tickets went on sale in December. ICE had done plenty of horrible things to Black people, to Latino people, to Haitian people, to Asian people, to anybody that they really felt like. Oh yeah, and people still ran to go get them tickets. After Renee was murdered, then the conscience set it. Then the morality set it. Then it was an atrocity. And it's crazy that the world still works that way. Not surprising, just very, very crazy. It is unfortunate that a martyr has to be of a particular race in America in order for the rest of the world to pay attention. Or that white people have to be caught just doing the most horrendous things ever on camera for the rest of the world to care, or even believe the Black people or brown people who have been telling them this shit has been going on since forever. One thing that my travels made clear very early on is that every single person on this earth is a victim of white supremacy and oppression, regardless of gender, regardless of pronouns, regardless of phenotype, regardless of it all. We are all a victim of white supremacy and oppression. And if anyone canceling their FIFA tickets happens to see this, it would do you some good to sit with the fact that Black lives didn't matter enough for you not to attend. You know, brown lives didn't matter enough for you not to attend. But white lives is where you draw the line. You need to sit with that and pray that God forgives you.
This cuts deep, and it needs to be said. ICE has been terrorizing Black, Latino, Asian, Indigenous communities for years. Families separated, people detained without due process, communities living in constant fear. And the world's response? Mostly silence. But the moment a white woman gets killed, suddenly it's an international crisis. Suddenly tickets get canceled. Suddenly people care. I'm glad there's pushback now. I'm glad people are finally paying attention. But let's be honest about why. Because if this were truly about morality, those tickets would have been canceled months ago when communities of color were being targeted. This reveals something uncomfortable. Whose suffering counts enough to matter. And that's a mirror we all need to look into.
Did you see that the Lebanese diplomat who amplified the Boycott FIFA 2026 movement after Renee Good's murder says that his visa is being threatened because of his comments? This is the original tweet from Mohammed Safa saying, "I canceled my World Cup tickets. ICE may decide that I am a gang member and I'll be locked in prison for a year with no charges, no hearing, no trial, no right to consult a lawyer, and no phone call." Saying what we have all seen, the US is not safe to visit. Reports are referencing that tweet as the reason why so many people from around the world canceled their FIFA 2026 tickets in such a short amount of time. With reports saying that almost 20,000 people canceled their tickets in protest of what's happening in the US with ICE and what happened to Renee Good. And reports are saying that the sudden wave of cancellations has sent FIFA into emergency talks. They're probably trying to figure out if they should give Trump another peace prize. Maybe that'll do it this time. Mohammed Safa did so much with just one tweet, which is probably why this morning he tweeted that his US visa is being threatened, saying, "Threatening to revoke my US visa in response to the World Cup boycott campaign in protest against ICE will change nothing. The campaign has already begun and fans are canceling from all over the world. Reiterating the US is not safe to visit. Thank you for your attention to this matter." This tweet right here should tell you why we should all be speaking up. He didn't know that this one tweet or this one action of canceling his tickets was going to start such a movement. But he spoke his mind and stood by his morals. Share this so people can see how we can all be brave, even in the smallest of ways in this moment. And also share this so people know that it is not safe to visit the United States right now, so don't do it.
So threatening a diplomat for exercising free speech. Totally normal, right? Mohammed Safa canceled his tickets, posted one tweet, and sparked a movement. 20,000 people followed. FIFA went into emergency talks. The entire boycott exploded. The response? Visa threats. You can't even criticize without facing retaliation anymore. That's not democracy. That's something much darker. But here's what this really shows. They're scared. Because the boycott is working. When you threaten someone for speaking truth, it means that truth has power. And those Australian travel warnings? Learn active shooter drills as standard precautions for visiting America. Standard. The world is watching. They're making informed decisions. And no amount of intimidation changes that reality.
So I thought about traveling to America as an Aussie. So I decided to pop into smarttraveler.gov, which is a website put out by the Australian government to warn or advise about what it's like to travel to particular countries. And here's a list of standard precautions when traveling to America for Aussies. Number 1. Avoid areas where demonstrations and protests are occurring due to the potential for unrest and violence. Monitor media for information. Follow the instructions of local authorities and abide by any curfews. That's the first part. Second one, violent crime is more common in the United States than in Australia. Gun crime is also prevalent. If you live in the United States, learn and practice active shooter drills. And now it starts to get worse. There is a persistent threat of mass casualty, violence, and terrorist attacks in the United States. Be alert, particularly in public places and at events. And it's all downhill from there, folks. And these are standard precautions. Standard.
Well, the World Cup is in trouble. Nobody wants to come here. Ticket sales are down. They've actually had to lower the price of the tickets because they can't give them away at this point. They thought they were going to get thousands and thousands of dollars for tickets, and they may not even be able to get $100. We personally, my family, we have heard from our friends that are either in Europe or the UK, and there's no way that they would come to the United States right now. They can see just how dangerous it is, and they're not willing to bring their children to this country. And I don't blame them. They can see for themselves what's going on. They've actually watched the videos. They can see the protests. They can see what ICE agents are doing to people. And they're not in the cult. So they don't believe this spin that comes out of the White House and Kristi Noem. I mean, it's very clear to them that they are blatantly lying about what's in these videos and what ICE is actually doing, and that they are just grabbing people off the street and asking questions later. So I knew the World Cup wasn't going to be a good idea to have in the United States, and there you have it.
Just leave ICE alone. America has every right to deport illegal immigrants from our country. Every single country on earth deports illegal immigrants. Yes, America deports the most, but we don't have the harshest penalties for illegal immigration. We're not even in the top 10 for the most harsh penalties. In some countries, you can get up to 8 to 10 years in prison. You can get a lot worse than what we do, which is just send you back to your home country. Every single country has a force that deports illegal immigrants. ICE is just following the laws. Every country is allowed to have a border. Every country has a border that they enforce for a reason. So leave ICE alone, bro. If you don't like it, find a legal way to do something about it. Change the laws. But you're not going to change the fact that we have to deport illegal people. We can't just have a free-for-all where everybody gets to come to this country without any documents or any enforcement of our national security. That's absurd. It's asinine. It's a fantasy. Every country has borders for a reason. So please just let them do their jobs. Don't threaten, harass, or try to go against them in a physically threatening manner. We all see what happened. It was tragic. She didn't deserve that. Rest in peace. But leave ICE alone, bro. Other countries will do the same. If you go somewhere to another country illegally, the same thing is going to happen. You're going to get deported by whatever their force for enforcing immigration is. You're going to get deported. You're going to go to prison. Like, why is America not allowed to do that?
Look, every country has immigration laws. Every country enforces borders. Nobody's arguing that borders shouldn't exist or that immigration shouldn't be regulated. But there's a massive difference between enforcing policy and creating an atmosphere of terror. Other countries deport people without this level of public spectacle, this level of chaos, this level of performance art designed to intimidate. And when you can't guarantee that visitors, people who are invited guests with proper documentation, won't get swept up in enforcement actions, then maybe you shouldn't be hosting events that require international trust. The issue isn't enforcement, it's the method, it's the fear, it's the complete breakdown of basic safety guarantees that every host nation is supposed to provide. That's why the tickets aren't selling. That's why the world is staying home.
The 2026 World Cup has just locked in its 16 host cities, and it might be the most global tournament ever, except for one thing. The ball can cross borders a little bit easier than people can. We got games in New York, New Jersey, LA, the Bay, Dallas, Miami, Vancouver, Toronto, Mexico City, and more. This is obviously billions for stadiums, sponsorships, and fan zones. And the whole world is invited, but immigration policy is doing the opposite of opening up. There's visa backlogs, tighter border security, rising hostility towards migrants and refugees. Oh, and this. Not to scare people, but who's to say ICE isn't just gonna detain you for looking like an immigrant? But somehow we pretend a mega tournament is just sports, not politics. It's already hard for the usual people to travel. Now picture fans from Africa or South America trying to get visas to attend. Workers who will staff hotels, transit systems, and stadiums but face hostile rhetoric the second the tournament is over. Even some players or journalists from certain countries who might get held up at airports or consulates. So who actually gets to be in those stands? And if you do get in, good luck moving around, because absolutely none of these cities have the public transit for that many fans. But hey, plenty of parking for VIPs. We're inviting the world to tournaments built around cars, expensive ride shares, and already stretched infrastructure. World Cup 2026 is being sold as proof that football unites the world, but it's harder than ever to migrate, to visit, to move around the host cities. I'm just saying, if we can mobilize billions of dollars for stadiums and sponsorships, why can't we make it easier and safer for people, not just teams?
So here's where we're at. You can't market yourself as exceptional while making the world afraid to visit. You can't host a celebration of unity while terrorizing communities. You can't charge premium prices while offering bargain basement safety. The math doesn't work. The 2026 World Cup was supposed to be a showcase moment, international prestige, economic boom, victory lap. Instead, it's become a case study in how quickly reputation crumbles when actions don't match rhetoric. Empty stadiums, canceled tickets, diplomatic incidents, international embarrassment. This is what happens when ideology meets economics and loses. So drop a comment. Would you attend the 2026 World Cup, or is this boycott completely justified? If this opened your eyes, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs perspective, and subscribe, because the world is voting with their wallets, and the results are coming in.